Welcome back to another episode of Insight from Above. And again, today is going to be a very interesting episode. We have a very special guest with us today. All my guests are special. Mrs. Mijano Beauchamp.
Right.
So she's here today and she's certified life coach. And she's going to talk to us about how can she help us in our difficulties when we are stuck in something. How can we get out of it? What can we do to advance in our life? So we're going to talk to Mijano. Hi, Mijano.
Hello,
How
Mary.
Are you?
Very good, Mary.
It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me here. I so appreciate this opportunity.
Well, I do too, because I want our viewer to get the most and the best so they can advance with their lives.
Yes.
So, a certified life coach. If I come to you, what will be the first thing you will ask me as I'm coming as a client?
So it's a new thing. I mean, it's recently new for the last few years, and it's essentially when you come to see me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a conversation about what it is that's bothering you, what it is that is because sometimes what happens is that when you meet someone or when they say that they have a problem, you start to realize that there's something more. So how it starts usually is that I will have like it's an introductory session. So we would meet, we would talk about what it is that's a problem or an aspiration or a goal or a project. It could be anything to do with your personal development. It could be anything to do with your health and wellness. It can be anything with respect to your relationships with others as well. And we would explore what elements are bothering you. But they may not be bothers. They may not be, challenges in that sense. They may be, like I said, that you're aspiring to something. It could be a change in career. It could be just whatever it might be. So we would start with that, and then we would talk about what the expectations of a coach are, so what my expectations are, what your expectations as a client would be, and we would go over those elements to see what the comfort level. Essentially, my coaching style is a very flexible style. I like to go with the speed of the client.
Okay.
It is the client who decides the agenda, and this is essentially how it works. That's how it progresses. I coach, just to give you a bit of a background.
Yes.
So I coach in the art of interacting with life. Okay, that's my trademark.
The art of
interacting with life.
What a beautiful say.
Yeah.
The art of interacting with life. I like that.
Oh.
I like it.
Isn't it amazing?
It is. It is.
We're born, and first thing you have to do is you have to start interacting with life. And that's what you do all your life.
That's true. That's true. But
So,
the art of interacting with life. So how can we bring this art? Or how would you bring this art?
So I look at it in the sense that I say, okay, so I have to have a relationship with myself. I have to have a relationship with others. And all of that, I have to balance my health and my wellness.
Which is very difficult to do today.
Yes.
Voila. Yeah.
So that covers my areas of coaching. So I have the art of interacting with life, and then I have these three elements that cross over into each other. And I use these elements to coach my clients. So if people have, for example, problems with their self-esteem, or they have difficulty with
Their confidence.
their confidence, exactly. They feel like they have to, they feel they can't move forward on anything because they are afraid.
The fear. Yes.
So all of those elements, they can cross over into the the relationship with yourself, but they can also cross over into relationship with others.
With others, absolutely.
So we get into looking at expectations. So we look at how people are, I have clients where it's a relationship, the expectations that others have on them and the stress that they have as a result of that. So it's working towards looking at, because it's not a very black and white.
It can be
no.
because we're all different.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you have to again go with the speed
Yes.
and the what's coming out of the conversations with the client, because the client, I can't drive the client into where I want them to go. I need them to go on their own, but I need to give them the questions. I need to ask the questions and guide them so that they get closest to where they want to go. It's not something that I have to make sure that their interest is always the number one. So it is, some people say, just to go back, some people will say, you know, why would you get a life coach, for example?
I was going to ask that question.
Okay, sorry.
That's good. Yeah,
why would you get a life coach?
Why would I get a life coach? Yeah, why?
And that is the biggest question.
Yes.
People are always saying, well, I don't need a life coach. I mean, I have friends, I have family, I have everything I need. But oftentimes, most times, I mean, it's wonderful that people have their support system and they have their friends and their family. You need that. It's crucial in your life. But what people that love you don't want you to experience is pain, and they don't want you to get uncomfortable and feel stress
and hurt or disappointed or yes.
So, a life coach is a wonderful option.
It's a person that it's neutral. It's a person that is really gonna tell you what it is and how it is and how it should be done.
Yes.
Family, friends, they're always the emotional aspect of it.
Yes.
So if you have a problem, they're always going to try to do this to you for, you know, not to hurt you.
Yes.
But you are a neutral person that they will come to you and you're going to say to them as it is. Did anybody have you ever encountered somebody that comes to you that they have issues with their looks, with their weight, with their...
I've had people, well, the weight is one thing. It's the self-esteem or the way that they see themselves, the self-talk. It's about changing people's way of looking at things. And coaching is essentially looking at how someone is and where you need to take them so that they become... so they don't have this problem with the way they look, or if it's addressing it. So if let's go back up. So if I take, for example, someone who has a problem with their self-esteem or the way they look, maybe they are not overweight. Maybe they just have this complex that they feel that they're just not pretty, they're not very good looking, and nobody likes them, and so on. So then I see. Normally, some people will say, well, why don't you just go to a therapist, for example?
Yes.
So would you go to a therapist? Well, therapy is a wonderful thing, and it exists for a reason. It's helpful. People need that for different reasons. But a life coach. So I always generalize it, but as a life coach, what I would do is I don't go into, while I need to understand where this might have come up from, where the experiences from the past may have created maybe why you're the way you are now. That's really more for a therapist to get into the why of how you are, getting into the clinical aspect and trying to analyze that element.
And they have to go really deep, like they have to go all the way down to your childhood to be able to bring what's coming on as an adult. But you don't do the same.
No, I am not a therapist. I am a life coach.
Okay.
You can get a life coach that has maybe that has a degree in psychology, but no, that's not me. So I really focus on, as a life coach, what I will do is I will take my client I will understand what happened, and then I will say, okay, my focus now is to look at where we are now, and then you start to assess everything from anything, whatever is your support system around you, and I look at every aspect around your life presently so that I can assess it with you as a client, and then we move forward. And every time the client falls back a little bit, we go back forward, and we always look to move forward. So we're looking for solutions, we're looking for options, we're looking to
different ways
of doing things.
And
it's very it works. It works. And in life coaching, you do a lot of like it's reprogramming. So it's a reprogram thing, and that's essentially what I do. So I'm looking at the situation. So this person, if they came and they had this self-esteem, so we would look at, okay, well, where could it have started? So we'd look at the past and get a sense of where the person thought that it might have started, because it always starts with something like an emotional situation. It usually is associated
or trauma.
Exactly. So it always ultimately comes back to an emotion, because we remember the emotion.
Yes.
And so we live through that emotion as the child who's living the emotion again as an adult, but still as a child. So you kind of go back and you do a bit of reframing, in the sense that you would say, okay, well, now as an adult, so you see, maybe you got name called, maybe as a young girl, let's assume it's a girl, you got name called, and so that stayed with you. The emotion that you felt is what stayed with you. So you take that and you work with the client, and then you make them realize that this is no longer your life.
That's right.
Okay? Yeah. I've had to deal with people who've had sexual trauma as well. Like, it's no longer part of your life. It's a past. But it's how we deal with the emotion of the past that gets in our way of the future and the present.
Future. Yeah.
Of our present. Let's start with the present and of the future, like you say. So it's important to have that. That's why it's important to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
But then, now we're here, and now we're going this way.
So you have to ask that question to know what is this coming from.
Yes.
Then you start working on where the problem started.
Yes.
So you do have to go back a little bit further into their lives.
But I won't go into I don't want to go into the like I said, the clinical, psychological.
No.
If someone does display, and it can happen, someone who displays tendencies that are out of my scope, I will recommend that they go see their general practitioner to get recommended to see someone that specializes in that. Yes.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And here we are back again with Bijano Beauchamp, and we're gonna see, now we talked about if a client comes and you go from the past to the present, but you actually stay with the present to be able to move forward.
Yes.
What kind of questions do you have? Standard questions, or do you customize the question according to your clients?
So it is funny you should say that. Coaching is essentially about a lot of questions. It's a lot of questions, because it's so important that so as a coach, you don't want to get in the way of the client from following what they need to follow, what's theirs, because we all have a purpose, and we have to figure it out. And it's important that when I do that, then when I ask questions, it's because I need to make whatever's inside the client come out.
Yes.
So there's going to be some tough questions. There's going to be a coaching experience. It's a fantastic experience. You have to want to have a coach.
Well, of course.
You have to want to have a coach. I will never coach someone who does not want to be coached. It's not a good experience.
If somebody forces someone to go see you, it's not going to work.
Yeah, who are you to tell me what no.
It's not going to work.
But someone who is looking for that experience and is ready for it, it is a commitment.
Yes.
But when I said originally that I have a flexible coaching, is because I know that people have, in general, we are so bombarded by things in life. We have our schedules. People are bombarded, and they are overwhelmed. And I think if you take that first step and you get a coaching experience going, I think it's so well worth it, and you will see the value. So the questions that I ask are really to dig deep inside the person and go find what it is exactly that they need to be doing to get to where they want to go. So
now when a client comes to see you, you have the initial meeting and they get to know your client. Do you customize your question after the first meeting with the client?
Yes.
Because every person comes with different challenge in their lives, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So how does people open up when you ask a very deep or very dark question.
Yes.
Let's say you were just talking about people that were sexually assaulted or abused. I think that subject is very hard for either men or women, regardless.
Yes.
So how would you approach that? Like, how would you deal with a client?
So it'll come out generally because something will have, they will have, it's funny how it works because we'll start with whatever it might be. Oh, I'm nervous,
General.
I have anxiety right now, I can't do anything because I'm afraid to do this or that or etc. So we get to talking about those elements, and then as soon as you start to talk about all kinds of elements, little things come creeping up. And such as this happened when I was a child, and this and this and this and this. And so, for example, when it gets into relationships, because then I see it more in the relationships with their spouse, or it might be in a new relationship that they're in. It's how they perceive that person depending on what they have dealt with or haven't dealt with emotionally from the past that keeps coming up in the present, and it keeps blocking them from doing what they want to do. So the self-esteem part. So whether it's people with PTSD, people who get into an area where they're blocked from fear, and it's trying to understand what is blocking, like because you know what did, but it's the emotion. It goes back to the emotion. So what I will focus on is the emotion. So we go back to the emotion again. So it's very difficult. So you have to listen to them talk about it. It's important to listen to your client talk about the experience and to understand, so how did you feel? How do you feel about it when you talk about it? And then it's getting into the emotion. You need to talk about the emotion because that's what needs to be managed. That's what needs to come out. That's what needs to be aired out,
and
so that you can go.
Thing.
It is the hardest thing.
It is the hardest thing.
So we have Kleenex in the office. I
have a box of Kleenex.
I have a box of Kleenex. I do.
Out, right?
But there are so many things that pop out from people having these, like when people start to talk, it's like an onion. I call it an onion. You just start to unravel and you get tears and there's more stuff that comes out. But ultimately, I have clients, they're just, they're overwhelmed as they go through it, and then they go, oh my goodness, like I can't believe, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Because they realize they're freeing themselves. They're starting to control of their life. They're starting to move into an area where I can do this. And I'm a true believer that all the tools are in you. You already have all the tools in you.
You're absolutely.
Everything you need.
It's within.
Everything you need is in you.
It is within.
And it's just getting that person to come and get it out of you. And why it's so important is because, especially with self-esteem or with self-confidence or whatever you need to focus on building you and the relationship that you have with yourself, so that you can have proper, balanced, healthy relationship with others, comes down to having the power to be able to understand that and know that you have the power.
I think
you have the power. And when you know that you have the power, you don't need to feel guilty because you know what you're doing is right. And so there's a whole bunch of factors that come into play, and it's ultimately when you know that you have the power to do these things, because you go get your own tools.
Self-power, because we don't have power over anybody else.
No.
It's just your self-power, your self-esteem, and once you bring these together, I think the person will change.
Yes.
So how long is the session with? I know every client will be different, but approximately in a general idea.
Okay, so first complimentary, and then it's usually about an hour and a half. I've had clients where it's lasted 2 hours.
Oh wow.
Or longer, because I don't clock time. I'm more, I went into this, I could go on forever, but I went into this because I have I'm thrilled about helping people get out of their proverbial boxes. I want people to come out and that's my, I just want people to be happy and really realize that they can be. But so I do it really for that. So I'm not clocking the time, but I do individual sessions for people who just want a session.
Just one session. Just a session.
Yeah. If you go into coaching packages, they start at $300 for 4, and I don't have my price list, but they're very reasonable. Again, very competitive. And what that offers, though, the coaching package, is that it gives you the follow-up that I give you. So imagine a sports coach. You're going to the Olympics and you want to be at the top of your game. You want to be the best, on point. So you're going to get a coach. You're going to try to get the best coach you can for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you get the coach, essentially a life coach, same thing. And that coach is going to be on the sideline. They're going to expect you to do the work, but they're going to be on the sideline and they're going to help you and they're going to, coach you, coach, and they're going to be your cheerleader. They're going to be your cheerleader, but they don't have this. I don't have this sense of blasé. I'm not naive. I'm not naive. I know you have the potential.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go hit those little buttons and keep going. And so that's what you're doing with the coaching. So so that person will be there calling. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you practice this morning? Or they'll be there on the morning, for the training for their athletic event at the Olympics. Well, as a life coach, I'm going to be there with the package deal. I'm going to be sending you little emails. I'm going to call you if you said that. I'm going to do this. I promise I'm going to do it, because we talked about maybe this was a very fearful thing for you to do, whatever event it might be. Maybe it was ask someone on a date. Let's just take that as an example. And you've known this person for a long time, so you think, oh, I'm going to ask them. But you're so afraid because you had such a bad time last time, and maybe you're in your 40s and 50s, and this is a very difficult thing for you to go and ask this person on a date because of the past. But then so I say, okay, well, when are you going to do it? You're going to do it on Friday? Yes, I'll call on Friday. So on Friday afternoon or Saturday morning, I'm going to say, I'm going to call, and did you do what you said you were going to do? So I'm going to hold you accountable to what you say.
So you do give homework.
Yes.
To each client. Of course, each client is different. And you do follow up.
Yes.
So you are, it's a good term I'm going to use, a pain in their back, because you want them to achieve what they come to see you for. Yes. So a therapist will not do that.
No, and that's the big distinction.
Will not call you to tell you, have you done this, have you done that? And I know psychology, psychiatrists, and psychotherapists, they're all different. They use different methods.
And they're all necessary.
And they're all necessary. But this is actually, like you said, somebody's training for the Olympic, well, they want to get better.
Yes.
So you're actually right behind them.
Yes.
If they came, took the package, so how long the package will last? A week?
So I do flexible again. So I'll do by session. So a coaching package of 4 sessions, or 6 or 8 or 9, or for the whole year. And I say 12, because usually when you start coaching, you have, at the beginning, it's very more intense.
Yes.
And then you get into the groove.
Flexible.
Yep. And then the person says, oh, so I have one, oh, well, wait, I'm not ready, maybe next week. That's fine. You're setting the schedule. You're setting the schedule. It's not supposed to be a horrible experience. It's supposed to be a growth experience. It's supposed to be an accountability and growth. And if someone, for example, is going through a hard time, I'm not going to force sessions on them or do anything. It's going to be, okay, well, talk to me. We're going to talk in a week or 2 weeks, etc. After you finish dealing with whatever it is that you're dealing with. You have to go with the flow on this, but it's when you're in the coaching, the sessions, and also when you're during the session, you make promises. The client says, I'm going to do this, because we talk about it. So when are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? Okay, because you're looking at plans. That's the thing we do in the first, after the complimentary session, we get into a first session where we talk about, this is the plan. We're going to start looking at what the goals are, whatever they are, whether it's personal development, like I said, within those 3 niches.
So between you and your client, the client will be the master of their session.
Exactly.
And they're the one that they will actually decide when and how long, and so they're the one, so they're doing the work. You're just giving them the tools every time they come and see you, the tools and the exercise. So let's say, what's the success rate so far that you have noticed after somebody come and see you?
So I am proud to say that when I've coached in relationships, in self-esteem, people are seeing differences. They're receiving comments. They themselves are seeing comments about how they are with their family. People it's beautiful to see, because I see people who have more self-esteem. They're more control. They know that they don't have to feel guilty all the time, or that they can take control. They can learn to say no. They know when it's healthy to go into the future and do what they need to, but they know when to go in the past to get the information they need and not live in the past.
Okay.
They start to make those distinctions. They start to become more emotionally centered
and aware,
spiritually, emotionally, and physically aware and centered about, and they start to realize how much control they really do have of their own life.
their own, because we don't really have control
Yes.
on life, but we have control
Yes.
here, right here at home. That's
Yes.
what I call it. So when people realize that, and of course you see the difference and they do change, is there anything in your coaching that reach spirituality at the same time?
I believe so. I believe so, because I do have clients that talk about those elements as well. So it's it being very
Not religion.
open.
I'm not talking about religion.
No.
But believe that there is a higher power.
That's right.
Believe
Yes.
that they're not alone. Believe that
Yes.
there is angel. There is loved ones around. That,
Yes.
So you do talk about.
Yes, I mean we do, exactly, because some clients they do believe that they're a part of something bigger, and that they realize that they have the support. There is a support. They do believe it. They believe in faith.
That's it.
And I think that is very important to believe
Yes.
in faith, because you don't need to be religious to
No.
believe in faith.
No.
That is a key thing that a lot of people don't understand.
You're absolutely right. I see this a lot.
I think and if you in life, you need to have faith if you want to if you want to reduce the stress. A lot of elements in your life, if you can remove through faith, just having faith alone.
I say to my client, there is 2 letters with F. One you want to complete erase of your life, and the other one you need to implement. Faith and fear.
Yes.
Because when we have faith, we don't have fear.
Exactly.
And when we have fear, then we just lost the faith, or we never really had the faith. So how can people get in touch with you? Let's say people want to have your services. So give them the information where they can reach
Yes,
you.
please follow me on Facebook at Coach Mijanou.
Okay,
.com.
Coach Mijanou.
Yeah, I'm working on my website, and that'll come at some point too, but it's under construction, and I'm just finishing up some trademarks, and so that's why it's not up.
Any phone numbers?
And phone number 613-620-3133. And I have Gmail, very easy. Mijanou@gmail.com.
Mijanou@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much. This is a great. I hope that you have gathered something that it will help you in your life or day-to-day life. And I hope to see you again.
Yes.
Maybe we'll talk about more in depth or other things, because I know you do other things.
Yes.
So if you want to get a hold of Mijanou, can you give your phone number again?
Yes,
please?
of course. 613-620-3133.
And your website.
And total bilingual services as well.
She speaks 2 languages. The third one,
totalement française. Yes.
French and English, so you can have your services in both languages.
Yes.
Mijanou, thank you so much.
You.
I really appreciate
Thank you so much
Really
for having me.
appreciate it. And I usually do this namaste.
Yes.
For anybody that know what namaste
Yes.
is, so namaste. And until we see you again.
Thank you.